Okay, so that's what those two sound like together quickly. Now, what I'd like to do is change it to major, and that's very easy. All you do is you take the minor third, which in this case is B flat, move it to B natural, and do everything else the same, and you have G major. So what you have is this now. Okay, let's do some more variations on that. Okay, let's add the seventh of this and add it into the pattern here. So the seventh of a G major is a F note. So where's an F note? There's the F note. Now let's find a way to add this into our arpeggio pattern that we have. Let's go like this. So far we have this. Let's add the seventh note and add an extra couple other notes that are in the arpeggio like this. So we are going to add 3 more notes to this pattern, and the new note is the seventh. So together we have this. Quickly it sounds like this. Okay? So what you can do is you can add these things on forever. I'll give you one more example, and then the rest I'll let you take it from there and hopefully come up with lots of different variations for yourself. Okay, why don't we make a variation by getting rid of a note as well and adding other notes. So let's get rid of one of the notes and add a whole bunch of others. Looks like this. And let's get rid of this note right there and just end here and go back up like this. So we're going to go like this slowly. Okay, all these notes, if you go by name, you have notes that are in a G7 arpeggio, except for the highest note, which is E, which is the 6th note in a G scale. So if you look at all the notes here, you have G, B, D, F right there, G again, B again, and this extra note, which is the 6th, which is E right there. All right? So together, our pattern, which is much longer now and has been revised many times, looks like this. Okay, so that's what you can do, and you can make variations forever, and that's the way you want to start thinking. Variations. Change that. Once you learn it this way, the way I just showed it to you, I want you to change that and come up with 3 or 4 other ways to do something similar. Okay, now let's make another variation on a picking pattern that I showed you before, and let's move it up into the key of C minor like this. I did a very basic picking pattern, but it's very important, especially when you're talking about playing quickly, is this pattern here with the 2 downstrokes and an upstroke. It looks like this. I did it before in G minor like this. Now let's just take this part of it and let's make some variations off that. Okay, quickly it's like this. Okay, whenever you want to add an extra note to this thing like this, all you have to do is add a pull-off and an upstroke with your pick like this. However many times you want to add a note, all you have to do is have an upstroke with your pick and do a pull-off with your left hand. And it doesn't really matter where the note is, you're going to pick it the exact same way. So let's do a pattern like this, and this type of thing you can easily make variations from. Here's a simple pattern like this. Quickly, it looks like this. Slowly, it looks like this. Starting from the upstroke, but it's the same pattern. From that, you can make variations very easily. It's just a matter of how many notes you want to add into it. It's very simple. All you have to do is go. Okay, that's extreme about it, but you can add as many as you want or do less. It's just a matter of how many upstrokes you want to add in there and pull-offs. That's how you add to that. And that can become very fast. Okay, now let's do something, a pattern, a diminished pattern. A lot of guitarists use it, and there's a lot of different ways to do it than what have already been done. So let's do one like this. Let's take a pattern that looks like this. Something like that. Now that's a diminished pattern. It's got a lot of different little interesting ways to play, and they're all variations of just the scale, which would look like this. All I did was make variations, and it turned into what I just played. And what I'll do is I'll show it to you slowly, the pattern I just played, and take a look. Okay, at that point is where I move it back a fret and do the exact same thing. Okay, if you notice, I threw some fives in there, right about here. This is a 5 pattern. Okay, that's what gives licks a certain roll that I think is really cool. Here's another diminished thing that I just thought of that might be interesting. It looks like this. Okay, well, what you do with this is it's a diminished pattern, but it adds a little chromatic thing, which is a picking pattern that's very interesting. It looks like this. Okay, that's a picking thing. It looks like this if you look at the pick slowly. Okay, we're going to add that little picking thing into our diminished pattern, like this. Okay, the first one, we're going to, if you notice, the interval between my left-hand fingers is different, but only for the first time. Okay, and when you've gone down however many frets you want, but in this case I went down to the 3rd diminished below, you start it again. So you're here. And then start again with this. And then do it again. Okay, there's a ton of variations you can do with that. Let's do one like this. And so on. Now, if you note the variation that I did on this, it looks like this. I stretched all the way up here and added that top note with my little finger and used that as a variation. So before I even got into this stuff, I was already doing a variation before it. So it looked like this. And if you note that, that's the same picking pattern as this thing here. The 2 downs and the up business. So it looks like this. So in actuality, you could do this lick forever. In your pattern as a variation. You could do it twice. I did it once the first time. I went like this. I did it once. You could go like this. And so on. So what I'm generally doing, I'm throwing at you all these suggestions that you want to consciously be thinking of when you're practicing and doubly consciously be thinking of while you're improvising. So let's get back to this whole pattern. Let's make a long pattern. I'll show it to you slowly so you can get something to practice definitely, like this. So we'll start here. Okay, that'll be one time around.